You're listening to the Good Food CFO podcast, where we focus on financial strategies for building a profitable food business. I'm your host, Sarah Delavan. Today on the podcast, we're talking about budgeting and forecasting. What is the difference, and do you really need both? We're diving right in this week, so let's get to it. In the last episode, I covered the 4 steps to your most profitable year. As a recap, those 4 steps are: number 1, getting clear on your business vision. Number 2, conduct a profit assessment to truly understand your numbers, what's working in your business, what's not, and where to focus your attention to improve your financial outcomes. Step number 3 is to create a 12-month financial plan, also referred to as a 12-month financial projection or a forecast. And step 4 is to use that forecast to create your budget in a tool, an app, or a system that works for you and that you will actually use. Today, we're diving into the last 2 steps to understand the difference between budgeting and forecasting and to talk about the big benefits of both. Let's start by defining them. The term financial plan, financial projections, and forecast are all used interchangeably, and they all describe a financial plan that you create for the future. It projects the revenue you expect to generate, typically by month, your fixed expenses, again, by month, and any additional spending or investments you plan to make within the time frame that you're forecasting and planning for. In a nutshell, forecasting is planning what you'll do with the money you don't yet have. It helps us to see things like what revenue targets we need to hit in order to break even. If you need to give up one thing to afford another in the coming year, how your marketing budget will affect profitability and what you expect the ROI to be on that marketing spend. It also helps you to answer questions like, how much revenue do we need to bring in to afford our new hire? If we onboard with KeHE in March and we get into Whole Foods in April, what will our trade spend and promotion budget look like? And what does our projected revenue from this brand new account look like? When you project your revenue, expenses, and investments for the year ahead, you get a peek into the future at what your overall financial outcomes are likely to be. Are your plans financially sustainable? You'll be able to see that. Are your plans going to result in operational profitability? What about business profitability? You have a chance to see what the likely outcomes are when you create a 12-month financial projection or plan. And depending on what you see on the bottom line of your financial projections and forecast, you can change things up as necessary to get the results you want. If you recall, creating your financial plan is step 3 in the process of creating your most profitable year. It comes after you've got a clear vision and a set of goals that will move you closer to that vision this year. The financial plan is where you lay out the financial needs to execute your plan in order to reach those goals and project or predict what changes will occur to your revenue as a result. You are creating the map, solidifying the plans for how you'll move your business closer to your vision and getting clear on your financial needs to do so. But here's the thing. Financial plans are almost always wrong because something you hoped for, worked hard for, thought you would achieve this year doesn't happen. An employee quits, or you might sign a new unexpected customer that aligns perfectly with your business vision and you hadn't planned on it. But that doesn't make financial projections and forecasts any less valuable and important to create. It does, however, make having a budget all that more important. We're going to talk about why after a short break. This episode of the Good Food CFO podcast is sponsored by Sarah Delavan Consulting's Profit Assessment online course. This online course puts you in control of understanding your finances and making a plan to achieve your goals. Inside the course, you will learn exactly how to define your annual and quarterly goals based on your unique vision. Analyze your business's finances with our easy-to-use profit assessment template and establish your financial success formula and financial rollout plan. When you enroll, you get immediate access to our easy-to-use profit assessment template, financial rollout planner, and strategy finder. You also get access to our exclusive online platform and the Good Food CFO online network, plus a bonus vision and goal-setting workshop. Visit sarahdelavan.com or thegoodfoodcfo.com to learn more and enroll. As I mentioned before the break, your financial projections are never going to be 100% accurate, but that doesn't make them any less important to create or any less valuable to you as a business owner and to your team. It does, however, make having a budget more important. Forecasting, again, is planning what you'll do with the money you don't yet have. Budgeting is assigning a purpose to the money that you do have right now. Budgeting helps us to see how long you can operate on the cash that you have, if you can make payroll, how much you can afford to pay toward your credit cards or other debt payments, if you have the funds to make the investments that you planned in your financial projections, or if you need to hold off on those investments for a bit. Budgets are living, breathing things that we typically check in with on a weekly basis to see how much cash has been received, and then to determine where within the business and the budget that money should be allocated. For our clients and program members, we utilize the profit first strategy of allocating a percentage of income to key budget categories. And those are COGS, payroll, operating expenses, owner's pay, business taxes, and profit. Then funds can be budgeted in further detail. For example, let's say $1,000 is allocated to COGS this week. You know you need about $500 for ingredients in the coming weeks. So you assign $500 to ingredients, and then you assign the remaining $500 for jars and labels that you plan to purchase in a few months and you want to have the cash for. Likewise, you may put a portion of your operating budget in a marketing consultant budget line, so you have funds set aside and ready to go when it's time to hire them. Or maybe you have payroll funds set aside as a cash cushion for the new hire you hope to bring on in a few months. Budgeting helps you see your current cash flow and your cash runway. At Sarah Delavan Consulting, we have seen that on average, after working with a budget for about 2 months, business owners are less stressed about their finances. Now, some folks will say that budgets are limiting, but my experience personally and through my clients has been quite the opposite. I have shared before that once I implemented Profit First and started budgeting according to that method, I saw that I could pay myself more money right away. I have clients that were paying themselves 8% of real revenue as owner's pay and saving all of the extra money in their business. They were afraid to spend and invest in their business because they couldn't see the long-term picture financially, and they feared that they would make a mistake or run out of money. Creating a budget and working the budget allowed them to see how long their cash on hand would allow them to operate for, and that they could pay themselves more without sacrificing anywhere else in the business. And that the ideas that they had for growing and expanding their business could be a reality. They are now paying themselves 41% of real revenue rather than 8%. Another client had made a lot of investments in her business before we met, and the invoices were coming due. She was stressed about paying everyone and having enough money to continue paying for necessities like payroll and cost of goods sold. Budgeting enabled us to make a plan for paying all of the project invoices, for credit card payments, and for cash and spending management so that we could build up cash flow as quickly as possible. Does she have a limited budget right now? Yes, she needs to limit her spending, but it is for the best and she can see that. The end result will be positive cash flow and eventually a profitable business. The process of budgeting is not always easy, but it always brings clarity and ultimately confidence. I hope you can see by this point that forecasting and budgeting work hand in hand. When you create your forecast for the year ahead, instead of filing it away, use it to create your budget and then visit with your budget regularly by creating a routine that you actually enjoy or by hiring a trusted advisor to help you manage your budget for you. For a link to my favorite budgeting app and a 34-day free trial, check out the show notes. If you have questions about creating your financial plans or a budget for your business, join us in the free Profitable Food Business community. As always, I thank you for joining me here and for doing the work to ensure that our good food industry continues to grow and expand every day. If you're enjoying this podcast, please consider rating and reviewing it to help other good food business owners find this content. I'll be back with a brand new guest episode all about pricing in 2 weeks.